Hi! I thought I'd make a video about how I made a game in 4 days for 𝗰𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀 with the team 𝗰𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. So here you can just see me scrolling through the page, looking over once more, just to make sure. And if you see in the right topmost corner, you can see the brainstorm tab. That's where I had at least a few ideas that weren't too bad, but I wasn't fully inspired on them. They didn't give me enough to make a little game. But the one idea I did settle on was about a library which only keeps things of insignificance, unimportance, as the title says. I was debating on making it a library or more of an archive, but I don't know how to make an archive, and I was not too inclined on doing more research than work, so I ended up going with a library that has a variety of things, mostly books of unimportance, but also still a variety of other documents that a library could also keep. So that's just me just going over it. Trying to think if I should share. I mean, might as well. The story starts with the player going up to the counter, the employee's desk, asking to check out a book. And the librarian at first doesn't really notice them, but of course he does. He just chooses not to notice them. He's a bit mean, but it's not really, you can't really tell he is a bit of a meanie in the story. So there's that, and a lot of conversation between the two of them, what's important, what isn't. And it is really short, so I wish I could have had a bit more time to flesh out the idea properly, but a game in 4 days, I cannot whip out a 10, I mean I could have, but I didn't want to. No, I couldn't. a 10,000 word script, yeah, I would not have been able to in 4 days. I would have combusted any time to write. So here you can see me sketch out now what he would have looked like if I had more time to make the sprite, which of course, 4 days, I did not really have the luxury of time, but that's the whole point of the jam. So sketching out a pose, figuring out what vibe he should go, what vibe he has. Well, the big vibe is that he's kind of mean and mysterious, but he's mostly mean. I don't know why I made him mean, but he simply is. I was also debating on adding in this very sketchy sprite in the game, but I decided against it, simply because I really wanted to make the whole game a 3D visual novel experience. And hopefully, in the coming days or weeks, I will be able to finish up his sprite and his 3D model and add it into the game. So his big vibe was just really librarian clothes, cardigans, not really polished, but a bit of a poshness to him, but I did not get to fully flesh out, but it's there. I know it's there, so it's there. One thing that I also wanted to, for this character design, needed to have was this off-puttingness, this weirdness about him. Since he would be shrouded in shadows, it would not be apparent immediately, but he is a statue, one of those, I don't want to mess up the name, but one of those angelic looking statues that always look sad and just have something melancholic about them. And his face would not move at all. It would stay in the same eyes looking down position, and closed lips, even though he would be speaking. His lips would never open. So that's also like a bit of a weirdness to his character. And I also struggled a lot with the hair. It's not gonna be seen in the speed paint, but the hair was the biggest struggle. Because I truly did not know if I wanted to go with long hair, shorter hair. And I also had to keep it in theme with the fact that he is a statue. So I was looking up a bunch of references to make sure I was not messing up the statue look. That was really important for me to get across, that he was, I don't know how to explain this properly, because it's a bit hard for me to explain my ideas without just going on to tangents. But yeah, his big idea was that he was a statue, and maybe a bit of moss and grayishness to show that time came by and did its thing. So that's his character design in a bit of a nutshell. If you look at the book, it says title keeps changing, because I wanted it to also be a bit of a weirdness, seeing as important and insignificance is constantly switching and changing. I wanted it to kind of have that feeling of, I don't know how to probably explain this, but that the book he was reading was constantly changing, seeing as some people would remember stuff that they found important, and then one day they would forget like a book they used to love. So he is just reading that book that keeps changing, the book that people keep forgetting and stuff. So that was also a little detail I found fun. Yeah, that I found nice to his character design, all in all. Now, here you can see me modeling the whole environment. Not the whole environment, but like the little room. This is what took me, I don't want to say the most time, because it took me a day, I want to say. A day to make the whole... I don't even want to say a day, because it was quite fast. It was a lot of blocky shapes, so it was... I don't want to say easy, but it was on the easier side of making the whole game. So, also, in case you haven't noticed, there is no script. This is just vibes. It's just me going off vibes, because I should have maybe potentially keeping a better track of what I was doing while I was doing it, but I was just a mess these 4 days to make the game. I also did spend a whole day doing nothing, so that also was maybe why I did not have much time to test the game later, because yes, I at some point managed to mess up the export in such a way. I'm so mad at myself for that. But anyhow, back to the environment. I have no clue how much time it took, but it took me less than a day. If I were to take all the time it took me in terms of footage, I would like to say it took me, I want to say 10 hours, but that's quite generous. Maybe a bit more, a bit less. I'd have to check. I'm gonna go check now. Might as well. Going through my files in Blender right now. Okay. So I can see the time. Fantastic. Can I see the time? Told me the megabyte. Ah, dang it. Well, I'm gonna be generous and say it took me 15-ish hours. A day and a half. But I remember it really just took me a day to make. Maybe that's what. Oh well. Now you can see me modeling the books. I wanted to at first grab books online, Sketchfab and the like. But they all pissed me off. I don't know why. I don't know what took over me that day, but they pissed me off. I want to look back at I don't know why. I have no clue. Maybe because I just really needed the simplest of books, and they were a little bit too detailed. I have no idea, but they made me angry. I have no clue. Well, luckily books are not too hard to scope, so I made four of them. I was planning on making like at least 10 or 11, but that would have been insanity. I have 4 days to make a whole game, and I wanted to spend most of it bottling books that no one would even notice, so I had to pick my priorities. And some more book modeling. Modeling it quite for a long time. Let me just... Oh, also, I should mention the tutorial I followed, yep, to get this result, because it's really cool. I really like the end result. And if I had more time, once again, not really the point of this jam, but if I had more time, I wish I would have gone a bit less detailed on some parts of this model. I don't know. It doesn't feel too detailed to me, but still, I wish I spent a little bit more time in Godot than in Blender. But the tutorial, I will have it linked down below in the description, and even I'll pop it up there on the screen. It's a really helpful tutorial and it's quite nice. The end result is really pretty in Blender, but since I had to export it to Godot, it looks way different and I'd like it to, but oh well. It wasn't a rush, and more than anything, what was the most important was getting the game out, which was also something I struggled with while making this whole model. I was constantly debating myself, maybe I shouldn't participate, maybe I should just drop out. I mean, I could just remove my participation and no one would even be aware I tried to participate. But that's just weak talk. I made quite a few games already for different various jams, and I was not going to let a little bit of self-talk, deprecated self-talk, stop me from participating in a jam that looked fun and that would push me to try out new things. Because if I didn't participate in this jam, I would not have been ever able to know that I don't know what, I would not have been able to actually wait. Well, firstly, I learned about 3D objects and how to properly export them with grease pencil, so that's a plus. I also learned to double and triple check how to properly export a game in Godot, because knowing myself, I would have taken way more time to learn how to export it if I did not have the perfect game to export. So that's a plus. That's with experience of doing a bunch of various game jams, is I will not ever crunch ever again, ever. So even though I spent one whole day of doing nothing, I still refuse to stay up late and continue working on the game in Godot. Even though, let's say, I wouldn't have messed up the export, I still would have lost sleep. Something I would have, I don't know, I would have felt the repercussion of losing sleep. Maybe not right now, maybe not in a few years, but it would have hit me. And I just refuse to lose sleep over. I mean, I still lose sleep over games, but game crunch, losing sleep is different. It just hurt. I remember I was a few years back. It hurt. I don't know how bad I I don't think there's ever gonna be a day I wanna do a game so hard that I'm gonna lose sleep so bad. Like, it's just not worth it. Plus, this was not a ranked. Wait, it is. It is a ranked jam, but there's no prize pool behind it. So, even though it is ranked, it isn't. How to say? Like, I will not win, like, let's say $1,000 or like even 100. And even so, I don't like to participate in games that have prize pools because they just make me feel absolutely awful. So yeah, just me. I will not game crunch ever again. I also, what won't I do? Let me look at my list. Yes. Well, I also won't fuck up the export in Godot anymore. Not that I know. Oh god, the export in Godot. I mean, might as well talk about it right now. Godot is great. It's nice. I love it. It's fun. Godot isn't 𝗰𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀. That is quite clear. 𝗰𝗶𝗀 and Godot are not the same. But I am very used to 𝗰𝗶𝗀 because I used to code mostly in 𝗰𝗶𝗀 before Godot. And I thought, even hoped, that exporting in Godot would be simple. It is, question mark, it is to an extent if you take the time to read and ask the right question in a search engine, which I didn't do. I just hoped for the best and just set out to release the game into the world, which I regret. I regret a lot. Because if I had taken the time to properly read how to export a Godot game on Windows, I would have been aware that Windows needs a PCK file that is, for some reason, not. I don't know how I made it. I think it's my fault. It is my fault. Yeah, because the exe file is quite. You can tell it's an exe file. So I just went, oh, because 𝗰𝗶𝗀 has an exe, Godot also has an exe. I think I just need the exe. Wrong. I need the exe and the PCK to work together to launch, which I didn't know. I just did not know. I was in a hurry. I was not sleep deprived, but I was tired and I was very, very, very stressed. Even though I will not crunch anymore, game jams always stress me the heck out. So I exported the game. I added in the exe file for Windows. Luckily Mac was already like compressed, so I didn't have to do anything. But I left out the PCK file. And when I comment that was left on my page said that I couldn't get the game to launch because the PCK file was missing, was the error, I was like, oh god, no, please, my game can't even launch. And I spent 4 days of hard work on it. Well, 3 days. I worked 3 days, honestly. I asked, please. So I quickly made a post in the Game Jam forum community post and asked the, what is it called? Organizer. Yep. If they could please allow me to re-upload my game with the proper file for the Windows exe to launch. And they were so kind and they allowed me to do so, which, once again, thank you. I was so embarrassed. I was talking to my sister about it constantly. I was telling her, damn it, well, this was fun. I mean, at least I have the game working on my PC, but sure, no one can play it, but whatever. But no, I'm glad I got to change the window executable, which once the jam is over, I will make a proper file to No, it's a game because I feel so bad. I feel genuinely so bad. It shouldn't be up to the player to figure out how to launch the game. I should have made it way clearer, but hindsight is 2020. So there was also another mistake, error in Godot. As you can see, the weird little white lining near the corner of the room, which annoyed me so bad. But the solution was simple-ish, I want to say. But since I was also like on a time crunch to release it on time, I didn't really fix it as much as I'd like to. But since the player cannot really even move in the space, it was not that important to fix. But I think I got it working. I'm gonna have to check. Anyhow, the second the demo is over, I will release it into the wild. This is the correct working version. So, God. Also, I really don't like the logo. It feels cliche in a way. Yeah, it feels cliche. Oh well. What can you do? The game doesn't also have any... Is it called? It doesn't have any sound, which pisses me off too. I was too focused on the blender making of the game. Even though I learned how to the school, I would have loved to learn more in Godot, like adding in sound and stuff. Also Dialogic. Dialogic was beating my ass. Oh god, I was beating my ass so hard. I could barely get it working. I really could barely get it working. And also here you can see me leaving a comment. I don't know what it says. I have to zoom in later. Maybe I'll even zoom in. I just go back to my page and see what I was typing. Yeah, that was my experience. I'm sorry if this was quite a jumble of a video. It was really just me watching back this footage, going over what happened that left me so perturbed, disturbed. And yeah, I'm just glad I got it done with. I always wanted to participate in a Velox turbo game jam. Because the concept of making a game in such a small time frame, I don't know, I just enjoy making a quick game, even if it's really bad. It kind of breaks from my routine of working on long-term projects that will only see the day of light in like a gajillion years. So this was a break, a nice break of pace, and everyone's game for the jam was insanely good. Like I'm just so surprised at how well everyone did. And I just look back at my stuff and I'm like, good God. Not to duplicate myself, but the amount of errors that are in my game. I was thinking maybe I should have stuck to 𝗰𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀, but if I stuck to 𝗰𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀, I wouldn't have learned as much as I did in Godot. So yeah, that's the end of it. And thank you for watching and listening to me ramble, which... Thank you, honestly, for listening to me ramble. Next video. Thinking of getting a new video out, maybe next week, or a week from that. Depends. I'm also trying to make a backlog for pink coding without destroying myself, because I already feel myself destroying myself and I don't like that. And also, I'm finally wrapping up my winter game jam, so let's go. It took a bit of time, but it's done soon. Tired. No more jams. This year was a year of jams. Next year, no more jams. Unless it's a jam that gives me a bajillion months to work on something. Depends. I mean, I'm saying that, but there's already like 2 jams I'm interested in joining in next year. But they're like different than any jam I've ever made. participated in it, maybe. Okay. And yeah, once again, thank you for listening. This was an experience, the 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀. This was an experience. I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. 4 days is too much of a crunch for me. I need a few days to do nothing. It's just why I don't feel too bad not doing anything like in these 4 days. Like I might one day was a nothing day, so yeah. Take care of yourself when you make games. That's the most important, because if you don't take care of yourself, who will make the game if not you? So that's it for me, and bye bye. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you soon, if I'll see you.